César Millán, known worldwide as the Dog Whisperer, is going through one of the most complicated moments of his life. After achieving success and wealth as the most influential dog trainer on the planet, he now faces a lawsuit that threatens to destroy not only his career but also the legacy he built over decades. The accusations are serious. He is accused of owning a pit bull involved in several attacks, one of which allegedly caused the death of the pet of the renowned artist Queen Latifah. The trial has garnered media attention and sparked interest from followers, and it recently took an unexpected turn during the hearing when the verdict was announced. Millán completely lost composure. The man who taught the world to handle pets calmly was unable to control his own emotions. Instead of maintaining the serenity he was known for, his face contorted into an expression of overwhelming anger. He hit the desk forcefully and hurled insults at those accusing him. Court security had to intervene quickly to prevent a further altercation. That moment marked a turning point. The image of calm authority that Millán projected for so many years crumbled in front of everyone. For nearly 20 years, he was the most recognizable face of canine education internationally. His television program aired in more than 80 countries, and his books became bestsellers. Thousands of people around the world adopted his techniques focused on dominance and the so-called calm, assertive energy. This philosophy not only made him a beloved public figure, but also allowed him to build a fortune valued at over $25 million. However, time does not forgive, and animal behavior sciences have evolved. Recent studies began to question the methods that César defended so fervently. Experts, veterinary organizations, and even former clients began to express concern about the consequences of applying his techniques. What began as a series of small critiques soon became a legal storm. The case that brought him to court was based not on a single incident, but on years of observations and complaints. The turning point was a video from the show César 9/11, which went viral. In it, a dog under Millán's supervision attacks a pig during a training session. What should have been a controlled intervention turned into a violent act that sparked outrage and prompted a thorough investigation into his practices. During the trial, testimonies from former employees and clients surfaced. Many spoke of animals that left traumatized or even injured after being treated by Millán. The judge, visibly upset, pointed out that the trainer showed a pattern of behavior that ignored modern advances in the field of animal cognition. The evidence indicated that his techniques caused unnecessary physical and emotional suffering to the animals he claimed to help. The sentence was harsh. Millán would no longer be able to professionally work as a trainer. His center was immediately shut down, and he was fined heavily, with the funds directed to organizations that promote animal welfare. Additionally, he was ordered to take a course on animal behavior based on contemporary science. One of the most humiliating punishments was having to publicly read a statement acknowledging that his methods were outdated and potentially harmful. César Millán's reaction in the courtroom left even his most loyal followers stunned. As guards escorted him out of the room, he shouted that he was a victim of an unjust persecution. He claimed that his critics did not understand the background of his techniques and that the animals he had helped were proof of his dedication, not abuse. The images captured by the trial cameras quickly circulated on social media and in the media, becoming a symbol of the beginning of his downfall. Outside the courthouse, the atmosphere was chaotic. Protesters with signs condemning his methods celebrated the verdict, while some of his most devoted fans could not hold back tears. Many held photos of their dogs, grateful for the transformation they believed they had experienced thanks to Millán. The scene showed a clear division between those who saw him as a savior and those who considered him a danger. That polarization reflected the controversies that had always surrounded his approach to dog training. Millán's fall not only meant the end of his career, but also the disappearance of an identity carefully built over the years. Originally from the countryside in Culiacán, Mexico, he grew up in poverty. At the age of 21, he crossed the border into the United States without documents, with just $100 in his pocket and a dream that few believed possible, to become the best dog trainer in the world. His personal story from washing cars. Until becoming an international star, he became an inspiring example of overcoming adversity. Dogs were his salvation. They gave him a purpose, an identity, and ultimately, they also marked his downfall. Those who knew him intimately claimed that his loss of control in court was not so surprising. Behind the confident image he displayed on television, there was a man dealing with unresolved internal conflicts. In 2010, his wife, with whom he had been married for 16 years, asked for a divorce, which deeply affected him both emotionally and financially. That same year, Daddy, his beloved pit bull and key part of his program, died. These losses plunged him into a severe depression, so deep that he even attempted to take his own life through an overdose. This part of his story, kept secret for a long time, was revealed by a former producer who worked closely with him for years. For César, his public image as a calm and wise expert was more than just a brand, it was his refuge. When his personal life collapsed, he clung even more tightly to that professional figure, unable to imagine a future without it. Although he partially recovered after that dark period, those close to him claim that he was never the same. His attitude became defensive and increasingly rigid in the face of criticism. He systematically refused to update his methods, despite the advancement of canine behavior science, which had left behind the theory of dominance. This stubbornness, this refusal to evolve, was what ultimately led to his downfall. Dr. Karen Sullivan, a recognized expert in veterinary behavior, explained that César was unable to separate technical criticism from personal attacks. According to her, when science proved that his methods could cause harm, accepting it would have meant admitting that much of his career had been built on a false foundation. His ego couldn't handle that reality, said Sullivan. The incident that triggered his decline was not the first with legal repercussions, but it was the most serious. It all began with an episode of César 9/11 in which a dog named Simone attacked a pig during a supposed rehabilitation session. The video went viral, causing a public scandal and drawing the attention of animal welfare authorities. Although he was acquitted of abuse charges in that specific case, the incident led to a series of new investigations. Former clients began speaking out, sharing alarming experiences. One family recounted how their French bulldog developed severe anxiety and aggression after being subjected to a controversial technique known as flooding, in which the dog was forced to face its fears with no possibility of escape. Another case involved a German shepherd who suffered physical injuries after being forced to run on a treadmill while wearing a choke collar. The most damaging to his reputation were the revelations from former members of his team, ex-trainers who worked at his center. They described how, on occasion, César intentionally provoked aggressive responses in dogs to generate dramatic moments that could be used on television. According to them, the show always took priority over the well-being of the animals. These revelations, combined with growing public rejection and pressure from the scientific community, sealed the fate of what was once considered an untouchable figure in the dog training world. César Millán's fall was so public and spectacular that it left a permanent scar on his image. Those who had followed his teachings for years began to question everything they had learned. For many, it was a painful confrontation with reality. Their hero was not who they thought he was. The world of dog training became deeply divided, with some still defending him fervently while others called for an immediate change in how animals are educated. Experts who analyzed his programs pointed out that in many scenes, the dogs did not show calmness but rather clear signs of fear and stress. What was once interpreted as their mission was now understood as a panic response. During the trial, the prosecution presented these moments as strong evidence, comparing his methods to the latest findings on canine behavior. Animal welfare specialists and veterinarians testified that Millán's dominance-based approach was completely misaligned with modern knowledge. Dr. Emily Henderson, an expert in animal cognition, explained that the theory that dogs are constantly trying to dominate humans has been debunked. Methods based on this idea are not only ineffective but can worsen behavioral problems by generating fear, insecurity, and lasting trauma.